and I want you to make a wireframe for your project. This is just one wireframe set. Okay, there's thousands of them on the internet today. You can download a whole bunch of them. Again, there's a lot of applications that you can use besides Illustrator. I just found this one and I thought it was a good starting point. Okay. Now the navigation, it gives you a menu at the top up here, and you can actually go in there and you can click on the text. If you click on it twice, it'll go into the group, and then you can change the name of the text. So just go and try that one so you see how you do it. If you're at the top of this, double click like 3 or 4 times on one of the menu items and you can change the name of one of the items. But as you double click on this, you'll notice it goes into a group layer in order to change that. If you want to move it or do something with it, you need to kind of go back out of the group up here. So if you look at how kind of Illustrator works, is it works with multiple layers of things sometimes, okay? And so if you want to make adjustments to the things that are inside here, a lot of them are in some kind of group setting, and you have to go into the group, make the change, and then go back out. In addition, you'll see like here's a slide presentation right here. See that? Okay. And you can double click on the text and change that too. It might not make you go into a group thing, the menu did. In addition, you'll see you have some kind of image slider here. I don't know, they have different types of image sliders. They have some bottom kind of menus here. They have small buttons that you can use here. They got medium buttons that you can use here. They have large buttons, drop down menu. They have a little dollar sign. They got little ranking. Some of us were talking about ranking, right, on their page. You can use these little hearts. I don't know if you like hearts or stars for your ranking. I don't really know. You know, they got some error messages. They got a video kind of slider thing that you can use. Hey, I'm going to put a video on my thing. And, of course, they got pop-up menus. They have images, image options. Of course, they have a calendar, and then they have little icon ideas that you can use. Of course, if you really want a more customized icon, you can go to the Icon Noun. Remember that website, Icon Noun? Or you can make your own icon, of course. That's even better. And, of course, they have more menu items, title categories. They got a tabbed menu if you think you want to make a tab menu. And then, of course, they have different size windows. So they have all kinds of different things that you can use. So how can I use these and make my own? Is what you might ask yourself. Well, of course, I'm not going to build my own in here. Okay, I'm not going to build my own in here. First thing I'm going to do is make a new file. So I'm going to leave this open. I might just leave it where it's at and start with a new file by going under in Illustrator File New. I'm going to go in Illustrator File New. So I'm going to make one. So I'm just going to use the pieces from this, and I'm going to make a new one using the pieces from the existing example by going under File New. And of course, when you're in the File New option inside of Illustrator, they have a different profile at the top up here. And if you click on there, again, we might have looked at these before in the past. You got a little print, you got a little web, you got a little devices, you got a video, and you got a basic. Of course, most likely you're going to use either one of these, the web or devices. If you go under web, it'll give you common sizes here. And now these aren't as robust as the ones inside of Photoshop, right? Photoshop goes into detail about, you know, iPhone 4, iPhone 5, and things like that. Usually the 1280 by 800 is the common size today, is a good starting point. That's a standard screen size. That's probably what this screen is set at right now. Okay. Back in the days, the 640 by 480 was a very common size we used to use. In fact, my first Macintosh computer had a 640 by 480 screen resolution. The Mac I bought in 1994 or 93. Yeah, 1994. Spring of 1994, I bought my first Mac. Cost me $4,000. I had 25 megahertz processor. It had 640 by 480 screen resolution. Okay, this was the standard size back then. In fact, back in the days when we would make videos, the old television, old TV standard, 640 by 480. Now, of course, we make TV at 1920 by 1080, or even 4K, 2048 by something else. So these are common sizes. If you're going to make a wireframe for a mobile device, let's say for your phone, you can choose devices. Do you see where it says devices in there? And of course, you got your iPads in there, you got your Nexus in there, you got your Fire HD, you got your Galaxy S5, you got your Surface Pro 4. So you have a bunch of them in there, already made to the appropriate dimensions. In addition, you can go online and find a bunch of templates already in the right sizes, download those and open them up. There's a lot of pre-made wireframe tools that will come with a whole bunch of phone-looking illustrations, and you just draw inside the window. You could do that too. For today's demo, though, again, I'm just going to go back to web, and I'm going to choose my 1280 by 80, or 1280 by 800. That's the one I'm going to use. And I'm going to hit OK. So, standard looking computer screen looking thing. Right? It's like standard, looks like a computer screen size. Okay. So, what you can do, of course, is think about, of course, have your drawing in there. You can bring that in as a template. If I had a, let me go and find one. Let's say and I didn't bring an example myself today, so we're going to have to go search. Let me go find one real fast on Google. No. Okay. This one's kind of sunny. So, you know, typical idea of what a web page would look like, right? This might be what your drawing looks like, right? So if you get it into the computer, let me save this. So once you get your sketch into the computer, somehow, you probably have a sketch, you can take a picture with your phone, whatever. You can import it or use File Place to bring in any kind of outside media into this program. Now, I know you might not have your drawing, that's okay. I'm just using this as an example. We will still copy and paste parts, that's the important thing right now. But you could go and place your drawing into Illustrator. Once it's inside of Illustrator, you can then go and copy and paste the content right on top. Notice how they actually show sizes. I'd like you to show some sizes. That's why we were trying to measure things last time. Remember measuring things? So that's one way you can go about it, and then draw right over top of it, either with the tools that you have here inside of Illustrator, or you can actually go and copy and paste these parts and put them into yours. So notice when I have two files open inside of Illustrator, see how I have two files open in Illustrator? I can jump between both of them. See that? I can go back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Right? I have two things open, and you could come over here and say, I don't know about this menu at the top up here. That's kind of difficult to deal with. I might make my own menu. But let's use the video control one as an example. So I like the video control icon here, or window. I could draw a box around it. Again, I'm using this tool right here. It's the black selection tool, the selection tool right here. If I click in the upper corner, I can draw a box around the stuff I want to select. Again, how did I do that? I am using the black or selection tool right here in the upper right corner of Illustrator. I have gone to the wireframe tool options that I have. I usually start in the upper left corner and drag to a lower right corner. Or I can just click on it. It's grouped together. That's easy enough way to do it too. That's grouped together. I can copy that. If you're using a Macintosh keyboard, you can use Command-C to copy, right? Command-C, copy. I can jump back to my blank one, or the one that I have my drawing in, and I can paste. Command V. Okay, so here's my video control there. I can go back to my wireframe tools and say, oh, okay, I want to have a search box at the top. Click on the search box. I can copy. Command C. Go back to my example here, and I can paste. Command V. And here's my search box. Okay. I don't like this drawing. I'm going to delete it, but I'm going to get rid of that. But here we go. So you can do that. You can also remove things. If you have this thing and I like the search box, but I don't need this search thing. I don't need the magnifying glass thing. So you can customize these pieces too. You can say to yourself, I don't need this, I don't need this, and I don't need this. I just want the box itself. Because people can see the search box and, hey, this is the search box. Do I really need all these pieces? So you can use the white selection tool. Okay, the white selection tool will allow you to select individual pieces in your interface. So if I don't want the search box, I can use the white. You can click on that, delete. I'm hitting the delete key. Click on this. Or draw a box around using the white selection tool, delete. Draw a box. Ooh, not on that. Draw a box, delete. And then again, you want to select everything as a group. You can use the black arrow. Move it around. Again, you have a variety of other options over here. I don't like their menu. This menu at the top up here. I'm not really hip with that. So I might make my own menu, so I'm probably going to make my own, but let me continue a little bit longer. Let's say I like the image slider. This is a cool image slider, and some of you might want your image slider in there. I can copy that. I can go over to Illustrator and I can paste that. Now if this is too big and you're saying, wow, that's way too big, well, you can scale things. You can select things, and then if you put your cursor along the edge, you can either scale it down like this. Holding the shift key will keep it in proportion, or you can even squish it a little bit. That's okay. If you squish the text, that's alright. You can unsquish it by clicking the text and unsquishing it. How do I unsquish? There's got to be a way to unsquish. Go back to a normal size for your text tool. Don't know. No, it's still squished. I don't know. I'll have to think about how to unsquish. But again, I'm only copying, grab the pieces you like, and pasting it over to the other side. And there's a whole bunch of these options there. You want an image. This works well for images. Look at the image here. Again, if you don't want all of these together like this as a group, you can use the white direct selection tool, and you can draw a box over what you want. And you can copy that. Again, copy is Command C on the keyboard or under Edit, Copy. I remember when I first started using the, back in 1987, I started using the Macintosh computer. And I was learning how to copy and paste things, and I just could not remember the keyboard commands. And I kept going under Edit, Copy. And then I would go somewhere else and I'd go Edit, Paste. And so I guess what I'm trying to say to you is it's okay to use the menu items. I struggled with that for a long time. And then you can rescale things inside of there and say, hey, this is my big picture, move it where I want it. Think of alignment and how things are aligned with each other. So let me pause for a moment. Okay, so let's say I wanted to have, what do you want to do? You want to do the menu along the side like my McDonald's one? Remember the McDonald's one I showed the other day? Hey, you want to have your menu go down the side over here, right here, right? My menu along the side. So let's just go and steal the McDonald's logo. So yeah, you can download a logo if you must, but most of it I want to be just like line drawing if you want. So what are we looking at? McDonald's logo. See, it knows what I'm thinking. You know, did you ever notice that Google can get into your brain and know what you're thinking and appropriately gives you that? It does. I'm telling you. They already have. They have the technology. See, it knows I'm looking for the logo. No, it's because I'm image searching. That's why. But I still like to think that it knows what I'm thinking. So if you have this logo, you can right-click on it, copy image, go right to Illustrator. So right-click, copy image, right-click, copy image. Find the logo for your company, whatever you're doing. Go to Illustrator and paste, edit, paste. There we go, McDonald's. Let's make it small. So there. So I have my logo here, and underneath my logo I'm going to make a menu. So I'm going to make it a little bigger than normal. There. So here's my logo, and underneath here I'm going to have menu, 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 menu. So here's probably the easiest way of doing things inside of Illustrator is to make the artwork, group it together, duplicate the group, and then change the name. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. And I'll demonstrate how to do this in Photoshop. So again, there's two main applications I'm going to demonstrate for your things. We're going to be doing mostly Illustrator to do the wireframe, and then we'll be using Photoshop to make a color version. Okay, and I'll demonstrate a lot of different techniques in both of those programs. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to start with a menu. I might want to have round edges on my menu, right? Round, what I mean by that is, of course, in my drawing, because I planned a little bit. I think I planned a little bit with my drawing, right? And of course, I wanted round edges, round edges, round edges, round edges, like that. And then I wanted, what do we have? McDonald's food. We don't even call it nutrient. Well, maybe we can't call this stuff a McDonald's food. Maybe. So I would make this the way I want it to look, and then I would center a line, maybe if I want that, or left a line, depending upon how my other one will be. So maybe on my second one, I have another one underneath there like this, and that is menu. I have a menu at McDonald's, and so on and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one, and then just duplicate it, and then change the text. Then when we get to the color version, I'll be doing the same thing in Photoshop, where I'll make one the way I want it to look, but in Photoshop I make it as a, well, they used to call it a bin, I think it's a folder now, where you take all the artwork for one object and put it in one folder and then duplicate the folder. Now you don't really need to do that in Illustrator as far as organizational-wise when you're duplicating things. You can just group them together and then duplicate them. So the techniques are similar between Illustrator and Photoshop, just the processes might be a little bit different as far as step-wise. So again, I'm going to make a menu, my own menu inside of here without having to copy and paste. And if you click on the rectangle tool, there's of course the round rectangle tool. The round rectangle tool will give you the rounded edges. Again, I'm not making a color version. I'm only making black and white. Okay. So I might use gray for my inside color. Remember, this is the color inside an object, and this is the color that goes around the object. So I might make a black stroke. So again, I'm going to have a gray box with a black line. Gray box with a black line. Right? Gray box, black line. You can change the colors right here before you even draw your round rectangle. Then I'm going to draw my round rectangle about the size of my logo here. Now if it's too round, like that looks like a pill, we call this a pill shape. Okay? And it looks more like a pill, and that's why they call it a pill shape. That's more like a pill than it is a thing, because the arc that goes around the edge here is too archy. Archy is a word? I don't know. You can actually grab the little circle right here and you can push it out right here. This is new to Illustrator CC 14 or whatever version we got. And you can push it out to give you less of a arc. See how I'm pushing it out? There's like a little circle here. In the older versions of Illustrator, what you would do is if you don't have that little pushing thing, like this thing's a little pushing thing I can push out. If you don't have that, what you can do is you can double click and you can specify a corner radius, and if you reduce it down to maybe a different size, let's say 4 or 5, it'll give you one with a kind of a less round. Okay, so either way, you could either push the little circle out if it's too roundy. Is that a word, roundy? Next, I've thought about it a lot. I thought about what font I'm going to use, and since I am making this for Android or for cell phone or whatever, I'm going to use the sans serif font. And so that's why I was telling you to start thinking about your font ideas now, so that you can use the font that you think you're going to use in your wireframe. Right? It's good to use what you think the final is going to be as you're working. So when you show this to somebody, hey, they can say, yeah. Now, one of the problems with Illustrator is if you try and type text into an object that is selected, it thinks you want to put it into that object and attach them together. Now, I kind of do want them to be together, but I don't want them to be together. So there's two ways you can go about it. Is don't select, so I don't want to have this selected before I type my text, so I can either click outside so it's not selected, selected, not selected, selected, not selected, selected, not selected. See how objects are selected as you go around? I'm going to not have it selected when I type my text in. Now when I go to type my text in, I'm just going to click once. Sometimes there's two ways to put text inside of Illustrator. Once is to draw a box, and the reason why I would draw a box is so that when I type my text in, it wraps. See how it wraps? Wrap, you know, just like you would in Microsoft Word, wrap. But if you're not doing that, you don't need that. You can just not draw a box. I'm just going to click kind of in the center and type in food. And of course, this is like the default font. I can change. So if you're using the text tool and you type some text in, you can change your font. Let's go to a nice bold font. Ooh, that's a serif font. It's kind of interesting. There we go. Ooh, there we go. Food. And then here's your size. And then the last thing I'm going to do is in the there is a pop-up menu. Okay, so I'm going to put my food in the middle here. Food. Remember, this is the move tool, the black one. Always go back to that to move something around. So right now I made one kind of navigational button for my web page. If I was going to make a separate one, a second one, it's going to try and measure the text from the left side, because by default all the text is measured from the left side. So again, I have the black selection tool. I've moved my font to the center of the screen where I want it to be. But before I go and duplicate this for another menu, I'm going to center align my text. Right here is center aligned. It might move on the screen, that's okay. Now you can move it around. The reason why I'm going to center align right here is so that when I make my other ones, if I want all the text in the center, when I type my second button, it'll type from the center out. That way you don't have to try and realign everything. You understand? Center align right here. Food. Okay, let's duplicate this. So I have one button. Hey, it looks great. Wonderful. I'm going to highlight both the shape and the text by using Shift. Select both of them. Shift. And then to duplicate them, I hold down the Option key on the keyboard, and I can click and drag. Holding the after I start dragging with the Option, click and drag. Again, Option, click and drag. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and it'll align it. And I'm going to line it up kind of with the bottom here. There's my food. To change the text, I can use the text tool, and of course my second one's going to be called menu. Oops, all uppercase. Menu. And I'm going to do the same thing again. Duplicating and dragging. And then, what else do we have in McDonald's? Location. Let's duplicate again. And And so here's a common mistake that everybody makes. If you have something that is too big, let's say more food, and say, look at that. The more food is bigger than the box. The more food is bigger than the box. Well, why don't I will just go and make this text a little smaller. How about that? There we go. Oh, it fits. Look at that. That's like the biggest no-no ever. Okay, don't do that. If you say, okay, this one was 18 points. See, 18 points to make it fit in this box. You should go and make all of them the same, 18 points. Even though these get a little smaller, you want your fonts to be consistent, even in a menu. Do not have things going big and small, big, small. Never do that.
Change the text in the boxes.
What's that?
How do you change the text in the boxes?
Using the type tool, I can put my cursor at the end of the line and drag across and retype. Is that what you mean? Yeah, it's just like a word processing program where you kind of put your thing at the end of the line and drag across. So again, number one is make sure that all the text is the same size for your menu. Do not have them. It's a common mistake that lots of people make doing so. And center line isn't very nice either. I might select them all. And let's go back to left align, and then move them over. There we go. That looks fine, So you could do left align like that. Maybe even make them smaller. I don't like big text. This is too big already. Maybe go down to 14 point, and then maybe I have a little arrow right here. Don't I have an arrow in my thing? Let's go back over here. Do we have an arrow? Oh, here it is. Look at this. Let's go and steal one of these. There we go. I want the person to be able to get more. Let's grab one of these arrows over here. We can copy that. Copy one of these arrows from my thing. Come over here. Paste it in there. There it is. Maybe change the size. Scale it down. There we go. Maybe there's more option there. And then we could duplicate that. Remember I duplicated the other one? Duplicate this. There we go. Duplicate that down. Duplicate that down. Okay, what about that? So the possibilities are endless of what you can do for your menu. Change the font maybe. You should have multiple options, not just one. Maybe there's a pop-up menu when the person clicks on more food. How do I make a pop-up menu? Maybe I change the color of this to white, like that, and then I draw a box over here where as the person clicks on this, it has a separate menu that pops up over here. And you can draw yourself a menu there. Or maybe steal the pop-up menu from this one. Oh, here it is. Item 1, Item 2, Item 3. Do you see that? Maybe I come over here, use the white selection tool, the direct selection tool. And you can click on all the items you want over here. Click on the items. Copy those. Bring them over, paste them there. There you go. Oops. It's not grouped together. Might be best to group things together. How do I group things together so I move them as a team? How do I group things together so like these are all grouped together, they move as a team. This is not grouped together. See, if I click on it, they're individual. So you can select multiple items together, and to group things together is under Object Group. When you do Object Group, then it'll put them together as a team, and we could team move them around. Team Team. There's no I in team, right? So I know you're not used to Illustrator. Some of you are new. This is very, this is not the simplest thing to do. I understand. That's why there's a bunch of pre-made things out there. You can use a lot of the pre-made things. Yes?
Did you change the location of the text and responses by changing the paragraph element?
I changed the text, yes, by selecting each one of them and going to paragraph, yes, right up here, paragraph. And then you can choose left align, center align, right align. How about we do right align and then we put them back there. Again, I'm using the move tool. You always use the move tool when I'm working like that. So yes, I use the paragraph option to adjust the alignment. Don't think too big. I think one of the biggest problems that a lot of students do when they first start making interfaces and wireframes inside of the applications is they tend to make everything really large, very large. Once you're done making it, it's best to print it out and see what it looks like in a printout to make a relationship. So once you're done building your interface the way you think it should look, go under File, Print. And don't worry about dimensions. You can scale to fit the page. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to scale to fit page. Scale. Do not scale. Scale. Tile. Fit to page. There it is. There's a fit to page option. And if you print it out with the laser printer, you can then go and see what the relationship between the objects and how they look. Because when you're looking at a screen, you're kind of, it's hard for you to make this relationship. The other thing you can do is when you're working inside of Illustrator and you want to see what it's going to look like on screen without all the menu items that are around, down here in the very lower corner of the toolbar is where you can click down here in the very lower corner of the toolbar right here. If you click down there, you can say full screen with like that, and it'll show you what it looks like without all the menu distraction. When you're done looking at it like this and you want to go back, you hit the escape key on the keyboard. Escape will take you back to where all the menus are at. So what you should be doing is taking your drawing that you have and recreating it in Illustrator or whatever. There's a variety of other applications out there that do this to make a wireframe example of your interface. If you're new to Illustrator,